everyone, welcome to the ninth video of Module 2, where I am going to teach you the concept of control flow in Python. Now, this is the heart of programming. If you don't know this concept, you are not a good programmer at all. Not that other concepts are not important, they are equally important, but as I have mentioned, this is the heart of this programming language. So we are going to start with the looping part. Specifically, we are going to look into the for loop and while loop. Once you understand what are this kind of looping, why do we use them, how to use them, we are going to move on towards the condition statements, where we are going to understand about if statements, if else statements, and also if else statements. And again, there are a lot more things that we need to cover in this video. So let's get started. Now let's go ahead and talk about what is control flow in Python. Okay. Let me define this as control flow. And the whole idea that you're going to learn over here is, I'm just going to cross check if that's the 7. Yeah, that's the 7. Okay. The whole idea you're going to learn over here is with respect to for loop and while loop. And then you're going to learn about some condition statements. Okay. And the main idea over here is that if you are having some kind of a code which is repeating, okay, and you don't want to manually type all these kind of things. For example, if I'm writing print 0, and then after that print 0, I'm also writing print 1, and then print 2, then print 3, right? I'm knowing that this kind of integers are being printed starting from 0, then 1, 2, 3, like this. Let's say if I want to do this for 100 times for some reason, okay, this is just for an example. As we'll be going in the upcoming modules in this program, you will see the power of all of these things. Okay, right now I'm just trying to teach you that this kind of things exist. Okay, so if I want to do this kind of things, if I want to automate this kind of things, how can I do it? Because I know that there is some kind of certain kind of things which are keep on repeating itself in a specific way. I can transform this whole idea into for loops or maybe while loops. I'll be first talking about for loop. Okay, so what happens is, if I'm trying to initiate my for loop, I need to give the keyword called for. Then for what? So for some kind of index that is present in some iterator. Now what is the meaning of iterator? Iterator is nothing but some kind of a storage where you are having multiple values that one can take. Okay, that index can take. Okay, so let's say if I'm having list of numbers. So in Python, you can create a list with the help of the square brackets. Okay. Again, this is not important thing to discuss as of now, but let's say that you know about this kind of list, and I'm storing, let's say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, this kind of values in the list. Now what's going to happen? Automatically, this index is going to be acting like a temporary variable. You can call that as a temporary variable that's going to take one by one values that is present inside this iterator. List is an iterator where you are storing multiple different values, and this index is going to take these values one by one, starting from 0 in the first loop. After the first loop is over, it's starting the second loop. It's going to take the value of 1. This index will keep on changing its value starting from 0, then the next value, that is 1, then next 2, 3, 4, like that, until this kind of last value has been taken by this index. This kind of for loop will keep on running. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to print index. As you can see, the first time this code ran, the index was taking the value of 0. That's why it print the value of 0. Similarly, now the first loop is over, it's entering the second loop. It took the value of index as 1. That's why it is printing me the output of 1. So that's how you can iterate through this kind of iterators, and list is just one of the example. Let's say if you want to create a list of 100 numbers, and then you want to iterate, you cannot manually go ahead and create this kind of a list of 0 to 100 or 0 to 99 for that matter, right? So the way through which you can do this is something by using range. Okay. Now what is range? The way it works is, it takes the start value, it takes the ending value, and then it takes the skip value. If I show you, let's say if I'm giving first of all range of just any number 10. So it's going to give me integers that are present in between 0 to 10. That's the purpose of range. In order to prove you that, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to convert this into range of 10 and then run this. So it's going to give me the values 10 values in between 0 to 10. So starting from 0, it goes all the way up to 9, as you can see. After 9, there is no output because these are first 10 numbers starting from 0, and yeah, we are ending at 9. One value that is less than this. Okay. Now let's if I don't want to start from the index 0, I want my first integer that is present in the range to be, let's say, -5. So I can start with -5 because I know that I can give that kind of a syntax, start and then end. If I'm just giving one number, it's just taking the value of end at where you want to end, a value before that actually. And now if I run this, you can see that now it's starting from -5, not 0. It's going till 10. By default, the value is set to 0 for the start if you are not giving any specific input to it. Now it's going to take the value of -5. Okay. So if I change this 10 to -5, and then if I run this, okay, I did a mistake. I should have written -5 comma 10. And now if I run this, say starting from -5, -4, -3, it's going to go all the way up to 9 until that 10 is achieved. You are keep on going to iterate. Okay. So it's not like you are going to get only 10 values. No, anything in between -5 to 10, you are going to get that as an output. -5 is inclusive, 10 is exclusive. Okay, just keep that in mind. But typically, let's say we want some kind of numbers to start with 1 and then go all the way up to 10. In that case, I need to go from 1 to 11. So I hope this kind of things are making now a good sense of how to play around with this range to get your things done. Right? It's now going to start from 1 to 10. Now 11 is exclusive. Remember that. That's why it's getting printed to 10. Right? That's the whole idea. One more thing that I can write over here is start is inclusive and end is exclusive. It simply means that the value of end is the actual value 1 before that end that we are defining. That's what range is going to take. All right. And now what is the meaning of the skip? Let's say if I want to skip, right now it's currently by default skipping one numbers, right? After 1 it skipped one value, it went to 2. 1 plus 1 is 2, right? Then 2 plus 1 is 3. If I want to have this plus 2 instead of plus 1, I can, let's say, have this comma 2. So now after printing 1, it's going to add 2 numbers to it. It's going to go to 3 directly without getting this 2 as an output. So it will be like 1, 3, 5, 7 and 9. Okay, why it stopped at 9? Because 9 plus 2 is 11. The moment I reach 11, it's not going to give that as an output, right? That's not how it works. So yeah, that's how it's going to be. After 9, because the next index value is 11, it's not going to run for that index. So yeah, that's about how you can use for loop to do some kind of specific thing. Right now, I have given a very simple logic that if you want to print some numbers between, let's say, 1 to 10, and if you want to skip 2 values starting from 1, then skip 2 values, you get to 3, skip 2 values from 3, you get to 5. That's how you do it. So that's the concept of for loop. Now, if I want to do the same thing with the help of while loop, how can I do it? I can do this by giving while keyword and then a condition. I need to provide some kind of a condition, and this kind of colon is again very important. I did not explain you over here, but this colon is very important. This colon is going to indicate that whatever you are going to write within this kind of space, okay, this space is also important, which we call as an indentation. So if I'm going to delete that space and run this, it's going to give me this indentation error. Why? It's giving me this indentation error because the space is missing. The for loop expects this kind of space so that any kind of code that is written within that space, that's going to be the part of the loop. If I'm going to print some value over here, let's say 5, and run this, see, it's at the end also printing the value of 5, but now that 5 is not printed for this many times. If I have this kind of space in between, so after every number 5 will be printed. After every number 5 will be printed. See, after 1 5 is printed, after 3 5 is printed. So that's the power of this kind of indentation. If you're going to give this indentation over here, it's going to assume that print 5 is to be supposed to be there within the for loop. If you don't want to have that indentation, then now it's fine. It's not going to give an error because it's having at least one line to run within the for loop. And if I skip that thing, now it's going to give an error because it needs at least something to run, right? But now let's, if you don't want to get an error like that, you can simply use pass keyword. Okay. Now this pass keyword, what it does, you can try to think and you can think about the whole logic of the loop. For that time you can use this pass keyword, and if you try to run this, if you are thinking about some kind of logic, this pass keyword is a very good way to just don't write anything within the for loop right now. Just initiate the for loop, go into the second part of the code, and then come back later on over here. So for that you can use pass. Okay, but anyways, coming back to where we were. Okay, I'm going to remove this thing and also remove the whole line and come on to the while loop. Okay, so in while loop it expects some kind of a condition that you need to run this loop until this happens, until this condition occurs. Okay, and then over here also automatically, if I keep enter, if I press enter after the colon, it gives me this kind of indentation automatically. And now over here I can give any kind of way through which I can loop into this loop, any kind of thing I want to do. Until a certain kind of condition is met, it's simply going to run. Okay, for example, let's say I am asking a user, I want to create this kind of a loop where it's asking user to enter their favorite celestial objects. Okay, and every time they are giving the inputs, I'm going to also keep a track of an this index. I'll also be updating the index after every iteration, so that I am having favorite celestial object 1 is this, then favorite celestial object 2 is that. So that's kind of stuff that I want to create. And after that, the condition to break this for loop is again something that I'll be giving, and that's how this while loop will be over. For the for loop, what's happening? In the for loop, we are automatically ending it once the iterators are over. Like once you're not having anything to iterate for, it will be over, right? So once you are hitting that value of 11, you are not going to have anything else to iterate. So that's about the for loop. But in the while loop, it's going to run forever if the condition is not met. So it's compulsory for us to write a condition in a way, if you want to stop your loop, that condition should be satisfying a certain kind of thing through which you can stop the loop, you can break the loop. Okay, so what I can do is I can come up with this kind of a logic that always run this thing. Okay, I'm not giving any kind of specific logic over here. I'm just saying that go ahead, run this loop forever. At the same time, I'm also having some kind of counter. Okay, I'm having some kind of index that I'm going to track that how many times this kind of iterations are happening. And now I'm also asking user to give some kind of input. Okay, let's say enter their favorite celestial body. So let's say I'm going to store this in the variable called object, that is obj, asking for the input, enter your favorite celestial object, and then I want to ask them that this is the first thing that they are inputting, right? CT plus 1, because CT by default is 0. So I'm just going to write CT plus 1 over here, and then have this F string, and this is also typo, so I'll convert that into input. And now what's going to happen in the for loop? Okay, if I run this as of now, see what's happening. It's asking that enter your favorite celestial object 1. I'm going to say Earth. Now again it's saying enter your favorite celestial object 1. Why? Because we are not updating the value of the CT, and it will keep on asking me because I'm not giving any kind of condition to stop this while loop, right? So for now I'm manually stopping this over here. So let's talk about how we can update these counters. I can, once I'm done asking this kind of input from the user, I'm going to update the value of CT and say that CT is equal to the previous value plus 1. You could have also written this as CT plus equal to 1. It's essentially doing the same thing. It's taking the previous value of CT and adding 1 to that. Okay, so 0 plus 1 is 1. Okay, and now 1 plus 1 will be 2, right? So that's how this is going to become 1 plus 1 2, right? So it will ask enter your favorite celestial object. When the CT value will be 1, this 1 plus 1 will be 2, or by default you could have started this with 1, and you could have removed this 1 over here, because it will start with 1 and then automatically it will be 2 in the next iteration. Whatever, it's up to you, right? How you code your specific logic. So yeah, that's what I have done. And I'm also going to give the condition that if the user is going to input something that is asking to stop, that yeah, that's it, I don't have any kind of favorite celestial bodies apart from what I have given as an input. So if the object input that has been given by the user is equal to, let's say, something called quit. Okay, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to break the for loop. So there are multiple new things that you're learning over here. That is this if statement along with the break statement. So what's happening? So until the user is going to write quit, it's going to run this while loop, and the moment they are going to type quit, it's going to break the for loop. So this is called as condition statement. That is if condition. If this condition happens, then you're going to terminate the for loop by using this kind of break keyword. And then let's say if this is not the quit, you can continue the code. So you don't need to do anything. If this is the condition that is met, then break the loop. Okay. And I can also give this kind of a print statement over here that type quit to exit. Right? This kind of hint is something that I'm trying to write over here so that user knows how you can escape this kind of loop, when to stop. Okay, right. So now let's see what kind of things happen if I'm running this code. So see how it's coming. Type quit to exit. So now let's say that favorite celestial body is, for example, Earth. Then let's say black hole. This kind of inputs. Now I'm tired. I want to give quit. But now I give it like this. It's not quitting. Why? Because I give this Q as capital. Right? I give this Q as capital. I need to write small quit, the lowercase quit. Only then it will stop. So now to tackle this kind of conditions, what you can do is you can take the user input and convert it into this kind of lowercase. The way you can do it by passing this lower function that exists in Python for string. So if I want to demonstrate that, I'm going to write a comment, convert any string into lowercase. How you can do it? Let's say if I'm having a string demo is equal to uppercase or any kind of combination of letters, uppercase, just like this. Okay. Now if I print this string demo, it's going to be as it is, uppercase. Now if I want to convert that into a lowercase, what I'm going to do is my string demo dot lower is what I'm going to print now. This lower is converting this any kind of uppercases, anything, to a smaller case. If it's existing, it will convert into a lowercase. If it's already a lowercase, it's not going to do any kind of changes to that. So now by applying this, even if it's writing capital QUIT, even still that is fine. Okay. So if I run this, and now if I am writing Earth, black hole, right, and then QUI, let's say capital T also for that matter. See, it's still quitting. Why? Because the power of this lower functionality that is implemented to the string. There are again bunch of different methods that you can apply to a string, but because we don't have to learn everything in Python, only some specific things that you will require in order to do some kind of astronomical visualizations and analysis, then this much amount of information is quite okay for now. Okay, as we'll be going ahead, you will be learning a lot of different stuff in Python. Over here, I'm just giving you a warm up so that you are understanding a lot of things in Python and you are not just getting confused of some basic stuffs, right? So yeah, that's about, like, we have talked about how you can have this kind of for loop, you can have while loop, then also talk about some kind of conditions like this. Let's say if this is the condition, then do this. Else if object lower equal to some different thing, let's say capital quit, then do what? Then let's say print type smaller quit, smaller or lowercase quit, or else it's not going to make any sense as of now. So what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to delete this. Okay, I'm just going to keep it as of now over here. I'm not going to complicate the things. If there will be something where you will be requiring to understand the else if condition also, or that specific time I'll be understanding you, like I'll be explaining you. Okay, for now all of these things are again quite a lot of things to understand in just video. So yeah, I'm going to end this video over here, and in the next video what we are going to learn about is functions, and I'll try to incorporate this kind of if else block over there with else if condition also, right? So stay tuned for that. Alright guys, so that's the end of the video over here, or I should say one of the most important video, that is control flow. Because all of these concepts that I have taught you over here, you will be seeing how frequently we'll be using in the upcoming videos for this program in the later modules, right? So the important thing is that you should be understanding the need. What is the need of having loop in your code? What is the need of having condition statements in your code? If you are able to understand that need, then you just need to know the syntax of how you can use for loop and while loop in Python along with the condition statements. And yeah, that's it about this particular video over here, guys. Now in the next video, again, one of the most interesting and amazing concepts, but at the same time, one of the most used concept you will be seeing is the functions. What is the concept of functions in Python? You will understand that in the next video, so stay tuned for that.